Hi, welcome back to Permission Granted. I'm Danielle Nicole. I am so happy that you're here. Today, I want to talk about something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. And it's a part of my healing journey that I haven't really talked so much about, but I'd be remiss not to. This is an integral part of all that I'm experiencing for me and for my healing journey, and it's my relationship with Jesus. So I have been in the church, so to speak, born and raised. Never known a moment where the church wasn't a part of my life. Um, it's always been something, I've always believed it. I didn't really have the moments where I didn't. And I would say I oscillated in and out of intensity, but never was it not an active part of my life. And there were many different situations that happened that I know I'll detail in the podcast or in this YouTube channel over the course of time, whether it be a diagnosis in 2007, whether it be the birth story or the conception and birth story of my twins, or whether it be getting a new career shift and change. There have been all of these pivotal moments where God's presence in my life was very overwhelming. I partnered intensely with Him in many different seasons. I have tons of examples of that. What I'm going to talk about is a little bit different. So about a year ago, I was in the airport, actually traveling for my birthday. And this travel was arduous. It was very hard. It unnecessarily hard. Just anything that could go wrong went wrong again and again and again and again and again. It was quite terrible in so many ways. But along this journey, I met this young lady. And right before I met her, I had been asking different questions because I had been seeing some patterns in my life that I wasn't happy with. And a lot of things that I was very happy with, a lot of progress, a lot of things that were going well, but there was still this itch. And so I saw this woman and she walked up to me. We were both at the ticket booth at the airline, and we were trying to reposition our flights because yet another something had gone wrong. We happened to be standing side by side, and I'm talking to my lady at the booth and she's talking to her lady at the booth, and then she stops me and says, "Are you a Christian?" And I was like, "Yes, why are you asking?" The reason why I was hesitant is I had been inundated with so many people who I would describe experiencing church hurt that when I say I was a Christian, they'd immediately get their defenses up. And so number one, I didn't know what I had done to give her an indication that I was. And two, I didn't know what was about to happen. And I actually didn't have the bandwidth at that time to deal with criticism or anything like that. So I was very apprehensive. And then she was like, "Yeah, I can tell." And I'm like, how? But that was the gateway to opening up a really transformative conversation. And in talking with her, she was a relatively new Christian and she had all of these really beautiful encounter experiences. And she was, the best way I would describe it, giddy. And I remember looking at her saying, how is it that she gets to be giddy when I have been in the Word all my life, but I don't get to be giddy. I don't have a moment in time that my life shifted and changed. I don't have a story I get to tell. I don't have that. And I kind of felt, the best way to put it, jealous. And so whenever I have feelings, especially feelings that are categorized as bad, I start to explore. And I remember after talking with her, we talked for hours, everything just so happened and got positioned to she and I just became like glued to one another on this leg of our journey. And I remember thinking I want an encounter. And that was the beginning of this new phase. And so, in me asking for an encounter, so many other things became revealed. And so, really, what I want to talk about today is strongholds. I'm actually working on a project right now of how trauma stole my faith, right? That's the topic of it. And how when you have unresolved trauma, it steals your ability to have faith again. And when I asked for a fresh encounter from Jesus, he took me on this journey. And the journey brought me to strongholds and idols. And I thought, because I've been in the Word all my life, I was like, I know what this is. And check, I've given up that idol. Or check, I've released that stronghold. But as he brought me to a new understanding, he brought me to the new understanding that it's a daily practice, not a one-time practice. And I love a good checklist. I love being able to check off and say, I've completed a task, I completed this. But it turns out it was an upgrade in identity and way of life. And so when he started to talk to me about idols, I thought I had a perception of what idols were. And I was like, yeah, I don't get down like that. But his definition that he said to me what an idol was anything that separates you from me, and that if I ask for, you would want to negotiate terms for. So if I say, hey, I want this, my response would be like, whoa, really? Do you, what? And he gave me a list of areas that if he asked for it, if he wanted it, I would be like, yo, can we talk about it? And that exploration, that journey of discovering the strongholds and what true surrender looked like, and what traumas I have been holding on to that prevented me from being able to do it. When I tell you healing is a journey and it's onions, there were so many things like, yo, I've already done this. I've already tackled that. I've already healed, which is why I don't put ED on this journey. I've already taken care of that. It's like, no, that was a level, but there are more levels to this. And so one of the things that he helped me to understand is some of the strongholds that I had been a part of, or that I had allowed to come in. The gateway entry part for that stronghold to come in was me believing that I was empty in this area. And if I saw a remnant of something that could fill it, I was willing to take it, even if it was outside of him. And because I didn't believe I could have that space filled. I know I'm being ambiguous, and I'm going to dial it in a bit. When I was asking about idols, I'm like, if I have idols, show me. And some of the idols were my desire to be remarried, my desire outcomes for my children, my practice, my, in a lot of ways, it would be things that I'm like, these aren't bad things, and these are things you told me. So the mic drop that he said to me was, can you hold my promise and timing in tandem? Can you hold my promise and timing in tandem? So one of the things that I would hear one of the things I would experience all the time is I would hear a promise, I'd have something revealed to me like, yep, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and I take over. I'm like, yep, I got it. Perfect. Thank you for that little words of wisdom. I got it. I don't need help anymore. I will figure this out. And sometimes he would give me insight on what was going to happen next, but it wasn't for me to take over. It wasn't for me to remove him from the equation. And it wasn't necessarily for it to happen right now. My trauma of I don't get to have, which was the soundtrack for 4 decades, ran so many things unconsciously. Oh my gosh. So if I saw something and I'm fighting against I don't get to have, well, now it's me. I'm like, well, since I previously thought I didn't get to have, I'm going to fight to make sure I get it. What's not going to happen anymore is I'm not going to get to have. I'm going to get to have this. And so I fought for it. And that was also a stronghold. Being tied to, so one of the things I say all the time, and if you're within my practice, you'll hear me say it. If you're within my inner circle, you'll hear me say it. See, trauma has a way of hijacking you from your future. It has a way of taking over and stealing your future. It has you by a chokehold because everything is filtered through what's not going to happen again. And it's like, by any means necessary, I'm going this opposite way. Being able to, so for me, my source of power comes from Jesus and an intimate relationship with Jesus. And anything that's outside of what he says, so if I'm moving outside of his identity for me, but based off of what has happened, that is trauma hijacking my life. And in a lot of ways, it's the gateway for strongholds for me. And holding on to that identity stronger than his is a stronghold. And breaking out of that requires healing. So some people say it's either Jesus or it's healing. And I'd offer it's both. It's both. It's not either or. I'd never say just go pray. And I'd never say not tackle into what your higher power is. For me, my higher power is Jesus. You know, the question would be, what's your higher power? When was the last time you've taken inventory to even understand how are you? What is the genesis for any decision you make? What's the core reason for you doing it? One of the things I just heard and realized is that I had been parenting from trauma. And here's the deal, y'all. I think I'm a pretty dope mom. I think I'm really doing a good job. And I don't say that in arrogance. I'm just super intentional about it, right? So I feel like I'm doing a really good job. But a lot of my decisions and a lot of my yeses for what I say yes to is rooted from what I didn't have growing up. And there's this unconscious of what I'm not going to do is give them the same experience I had. And I've associated a lot of my lack in my childhood of they're never going to have that lack. But moving from trauma is not the highest form of movement. There could be some no's they need that would be beneficial. And all of the yeses don't necessarily mean that I'm offering them a better alternative. And so this is real time. I'm still learning. I'm still actively working through this segment of no longer parenting from what I didn't have and ensuring they do have. And some of those things, and here's the deal, some of those things are good things. Like, so when it comes to love and the way that I talk to them, yeah, I want them to have the love. But all of the yeses that I've said yes to, one of them is this doggone buddy. The buddy will be leaving our home. I said yes to a buddy and I said yes to a bearded dragon. And in our current phase of life, we're not pet people. We don't have, I'm embarrassed to say this, I just think we don't have what it takes to be proper pet people. I don't think that pets thrive in our environment. But I said yes to these because I was never allowed to have a pet and I really wanted them to have this experience, but wasn't our best experience. Um, so, whew, this is a topic that's so near and dear to my heart, and it just really assessing and understanding what idols do you have in your life. And for me, again, my definition of an idol is anything that if the Lord asked for, you would want to negotiate terms for. If he said, hey, I want the kids to live somewhere else. And I was like, and I would say, whoa, 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 hey, hold on. Or if he said, what if you'll never be remarried? At a point, that would have been fighting words for me. Now, if I get remarried, amazing. If I don't get remarried, amazing. But that was not, that was not how I felt. And anyone who hears me speak of it this way today, floored. So what areas of your life can you not surrender to? And what keeps you from surrendering? Is it an experience where you were let down, where you tried to surrender, or you tried to depend on an area and the bottom fell out on you and you were left laying? The thought that the only one that can do it is me. The only one I can trust and depend on is me. It can be a stronghold because it's not even true. But your experience could have said it in a way to where it feels true. And I don't negate that your experiences happened and that they were terrible or very uncomfortable. I don't negate that my experiences happen. I have very specific reasons why I have made all the decisions. I'm super intentional. I'm very logical. And so I'm like, nope, this and this and this and this, and I won't do this because I'll make sure this. But it was still me being in control. And because of my desired relationship with the Lord, and because I really wanted to be submitted to his authority, and I really wanted to do life with him, I had the opportunity and invitation to give up all of those idols and things that I held on, the things that I depended on to get me through. And I began to live a life of surrender. And this season of my life has been, while not hunky-dory, because there's a misconception that hunky-dory is what it would be, it has been so rich, so gratifying, so fulfilling. I have felt more loved in this season of my life than I have ever felt. It was because I gave up doing it myself. I gave up the things that I was using. Let me rephrase. I am giving up the things that I used to protect myself, to keep myself safe. I now am practicing trusting in him keeping me safe. The other thing he said to me was, so there's these two books that I read probably a year and a half ago. I reread them, Captivating and Wild at Heart. Can't think of the author right now, so please forgive me, but I'll link them in the show notes. So these books, Captivating, helped me to understand that being feminine was okay. So I definitely was a more masculine woman, type A, overachiever, go-getter, I got this type energy. You can't really help me because I already got it. You did that, but I could do it better. That type of energy. And I felt super convicted by it, but I was like, yo, what else can I be in this season? If I'm not that, then what can I be? I can't be feminine right now. There is no masculine essence to be able to allow me to be feminine. I can't do it. So I have to be masculine. And the Holy Spirit said to me, no, you still get to be feminine right now. And I was like, well, then if I'm feminine, who's going to be the masculine? He was like, I will. So this season of allowing him to be my masculine presence, the stories that I have, the awe and wonder that I experience, the bending of time and the supernatural experiences, the real life encounters that I've had when I gave up the idol of me doing it and allowed to be surrendered to him being my masculine essence. But I couldn't have done it if I hadn't started the healing process. If I hadn't known that I can trust me when a no is a no, and that I won't stay longer because I'm trying to feel it, because I just gotta have it from that venue. I can trust a no being a no. I can trust a yes being a yes. I can trust what I hear the Holy Spirit speak. Oh, recently, I was talking with someone and I said, oh, such and such, I heard the Holy Spirit. And they were like, that was not the Holy Spirit. For a fact, you heard wrong. And I was like, oh, because it grieved my spirit, because the one thing I do know is his voice. And I was like, oh, I would have believed that before and second guessed myself, but no more. Nobody else can come in and tell me when I didn't hear, because I know when I've heard. That confidence that I now have has been a result of me healing. The other thing that I realized for so long, I wouldn't use the name Jesus. I would say God and I would say spiritual, because I was so busy being concerned about offending. I didn't want to offend. And I remember when he was like, no more, you get to say my name. I was like, oh, but what if I heard? Because this is my biggest like desires to create a place so safe that you can come into my space and be vulnerable enough to take down your armor and begin healing. And that name had been weaponized in so many ways that I was like, if I use that, I won't be able to create a safe space. And surrendering to feeling like I'm in charge of creating the safe space, knowing that my heart is right, create the space, and the people who need to come into this space will come. So, for me, this feels like a lot, because talking openly about this topic is newer in my inner circles and in small spaces all day long. But I don't want to continue on this journey without including where my source comes from, what this journey has been like. This last year has been, when I tell you the resurfacing of my heart and the things that I've been able to learn and experience, the strongholds I've been able to let go, the idols that I let go, the surrendering that I get to embark on, embracing femininity and knowing that that's where my power is and that I don't have to have a masculine edge. All of this has come from me being courageous enough to start healing and tackle the areas that feel foreign and scary, because there's still a lot of them, and allowing Jesus to come in a new, fresh way. I asked for a fresh encounter and he gave it to me. And if any of this resonates, I'd implore you to ask for a fresh encounter. If you have any questions or you want to know more, please ask. I love talking about this, and I'd love to be able to answer any questions about what I've experienced, how he's shown up for me. I'd love to have these conversations. If you know anyone that can benefit from this message, share it, please. Please share. Share. I want people to feel comfortable doing the scary things. I don't use the word scared anymore, but uncomfortable, yeah. Am I willing to be uncomfortable? I am. So if you know someone who needs to hear this, please share. If you have questions, comment. And if you don't feel comfortable commenting, DM me, Danielle Nicole Life Coach on Instagram. You can email me, purpose@DanielleNicoleLifeCoach. If you're ready to just have a consultation, you can schedule one. You can go on the website, schedule a consultation. You can DM me and ask me for some time. You can email me, whatever floats your boat. I want to say thank you for watching all the way to this part, to the end. Thank you. I love you. I do. I love being able to do this work with you. I love even going first in this way. So I am excited to have you on this journey with me. And yeah, that's it. So, oh yeah, but I do want to highlight some of the mic drop moments that I love. Can you hold my promise and timing in tandem? Ask for a fresh encounter and start to do inventory on areas you still need to surrender to and areas that are idols. All right, bye for now. I love you. I mean it, and I can't wait to see you soon. Bye.